Welcome. My name is Steve Hoggard. Today is, I guess you'd call it, Tuesday's Thoughts. And so I want to kind of share just a short little devotional with you and just get you thinking about some things. Today is Tuesday's Thoughts. And what I want to do today is I want you to think about this four little words. And it actually comes into question. What is your life? How would you answer that question? And before we look at the answer, how James answers that question in the book of James. And actually there's one verse, James chapter 4, verse 14, if you want to read that. What is your life? It's hard for some people to answer this question. What is your life? Scientists, philosophers really don't have a great answer. Many of us don't think about life. You know, we live in the here and the now, and we push that thought about life and the ending of life. We push that away some distance until we get older. But what is your life? Now, we try to deny getting older, or we try to stop the wrinkles. Maybe try to stop the hair loss, which you can see. I missed that part, but hey, it don't take much shampoo, and I'm ready to go at any time. So, but we try to deny that we're getting older and try to push off life. So maybe one day when we get old and bald and wrinkled, and we say, then we start thinking about that question, what is your life? Jesus told Nicodemus. Remember Nicodemus in John chapter 3 comes to Jesus in the middle of the night, and he says, Jesus, we know that you're from God. We know that you're a great speaker, great teacher. And then Jesus tells him this in a most recognized verse and throughout all the Bible. He says, for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. And that's what I want you to think about. Life is just not at the end of our body when it dies and we put it in the ground. There is eternal life. There is life after death. In fact, for many believers, we believe that death is just a part of our life, and we actually there's a eternal life out there that we will exist forever. There is life after death, and that life is either in heaven or in hell. And what's a curious thing is that we decide which direction we want to go after our body is put in the ground. And it all determines by what we believe in Jesus Christ. But let's kind of go on back to that question. What is your life? So in James chapter 4, verse 14, James asks that question. What is your life? Your life has a lot of uncertainties. Things that we just can't plan for. You can't plan for things because you really don't know the future. You have no clue what's going to happen tomorrow. And what James is trying to tell his audience, he says today or tomorrow you say, we'll go do this and we'll go do that. But there's no guarantee that you can do this or that. I mean, how many of us seen that this little virus would control our world right now? I mean, if you would have told me that I would on Easter Sunday preach from a trailer to a bunch of cars looking at me, I would have probably thought you were a fool. But it happened. I couldn't predict the future. I didn't know what was going to happen. But see, we do not know what the future is like. We think we can, but we don't for sure. Life has its uncertainties. In fact, James goes a little further. He says, you're a mist that appears for a little while, then vanishes. Just like that, it's gone. What I want you to understand, that this human body is just like a vapor. It is not long compared to eternity. However long we lived in this body, it's not that long compared forever. Just a short distance. It's just a vapor in God's time. Also, life has its certainties. Life has its uncertainties. We can't plan for things, but also life has its certainties. I grew up thinking that there's two things that's always a guarantee: taxes and death. Well, taxes have been pushed back because of the little virus, but you cannot push back death. it will happen. In fact, in Hebrews 9:27 it says, "Is it appointed for men to die once, but after that face judgment?" Unless Jesus Christ comes back, we will all face death and then judgment. And that judgment will be based upon our relationship with Jesus Christ. You either have a relationship or you do not have a relationship. I do not mean by being baptized, going to church, or being good. Life is about knowing Jesus Christ and living for Him. That is how you have eternal life in heaven. The whole point of James asking, "What is your life?" to this audience he is writing to, is because he wants his readers, he wants them to realize that they need to don't quit worrying about themselves and start realizing God's got a bigger picture. They need to realize that, is God's will, that you can go do this and you can go do that. In fact, James tells them, he says, you should start asking, if it's the Lord's will, I'll go do this. If it's the Lord's will, I'll go do that. It's all about God's will. So here's my Tuesday thought. I told you it's going to be short, but here's my Tuesday thought. This body that we live in for a short time, this little dash on a tombstone. What I mean by dash is you have your beginning date when you were born and your ending date when your body is put in the ground, or going to be put in the ground when you die. That dash, that is the vapor. That is our life in our body. It's just a short time that we live in this earthly body. And folks, we need to make sure that that dash impacts eternity. The only way you and I will impact eternity is to live for Jesus Christ and to show Jesus Christ to other people. This virus thing has changed our life for now. And in fact, we will probably, in a scope of time, this virus is just a vapor. It's going to disappear quickly. It's not going to be here much longer. But you know what? We can impact eternity, guys. Church, we can impact eternity by living and showing Jesus Christ to people. That's really the message I want you to understand. What is your life? What is that dash like for you? Will you impact eternity by living for Jesus Christ, by showing Him to others? We live in a world right now that a lot of questions, a lot of people uncertain, and man, we have a message for them. And that message involves eternal life. And that is for them to know Jesus Christ. We have a hope, and that hope doesn't disappoint, does it? Hey, thank you for coming last Sunday for Easter. I really appreciate you coming. Forgot to say this, but my name is Steve Hogger. I'm the pastor of Hickory Hill Baptist Church. And again, we were glad that you came for Easter. If you visited with us, we will do another service, another parking lot service this Sunday. I think it'll be the 19th of April. So please come part of that. Thursday, I'll kind of share our Sunday school lesson, which I think is in Romans 8:12 through 25. So you go ahead and read up on that. But again, thank you for taking a few minutes with me and think about, what is your life? It's just a vapor, so make it count.